AITA for being cautious about letting my ex back into our daughter's life after 5 years. I 29F have a 5F with my ex 32M. We were engaged but never really planned to have kids before marriage, or at least for the next few years. I was on the pill and he used protection sometimes, but I ended up pregnant. Since it was unplanned, abortion was on the table. He was more into making it work, so both of us decided to keep the baby. I wasn't emotionally prepared, but for him, love is all it takes to make everything work. Fast forward 6 months, he started to change. He would give me the silent treatment if I do something wrong. He wouldn't engage in any conversation about the baby and would just yell at me if I asked what's wrong. I was almost 8 months pregnant when he told me he's just not ready to be a father and can't do both things. It's either fatherhood or his career. I was scared to be a single mother, so I told him it's fine, I can take care of our baby and be a som until things get better for him, but he refused and made it clear everything is over. Since the house was his, I left and went to live with my mom until I found myself a place. I gave birth to my baby girl, and he never came to see her. His mother and sister were there for me, and to this day they're still part of my daughter's life. As for him, he gave up his parental rights and granted me full custody, legally, but was willing to contribute financially through child support. He voluntarily provides financial support in an amicable arrangement. I'm not proud of it, but there are nights I called him just to ask him why did he do that to us. I wasn't even ready, but seeing him happy and excited made me think we could make it work together. He never really answered my calls. We used to communicate through his mother or sister or email. I love my baby and won't ever see her as a mistake. I'm still doing my best to be the best mother she deserves. I have a good paying job now, and everything is better than before. Now here's the thing. After 5 years, and when I finally feel my life got better and figured out my shit, he wants to get involved. He's been calling and texting me for a week now. He doesn't regret a thing and he's not asking. He's telling me that he has the right to see his daughter and be there for her. How can I trust him not to wake up one day and decide being in her life is a mistake and disappear again? He can do that to me, but I just don't want my daughter to get hurt. I told him he can see her, but not this way. He wants more than just to see her. He even threatened me if I don't agree, then he has no problem telling her in the future how I'm the reason she grew up without a father. His mother and even my mother want me to just let him into my daughter's life with no exceptions. And I'm not comfortable doing that because I know him. Whipta if I decide on what's best for our daughter, or just suck it up and let him in. Update. He didn't stop with the calls and texts, and I read some of the comments wondering why he suddenly wants to be in my daughter's life, so I agreed to meet up with him and discuss everything yesterday. We talked for about 30 minutes. 30 minutes of me trying to explain to him that he literally gave up his parental rights years ago, and there's no need for threatening, since he legally has no right to see her if I don't allow him. While he was focused on expressing how I haven't changed and complimenting my body. His comments became too much, so I decided to just leave, but I noticed he was wearing a ring on his right hand and didn't hesitate to ask him about it. He said he proposed a few weeks ago, but he thinks he rushed things. I asked him if she knows about my daughter and if this is why he's here. He said no, she still doesn't know, and he genuinely wants to be part of his daughter's life. He basically spent 30 minutes flirting with no shame that he's engaged and showed no sign of being genuinely interested in getting involved. I told him to just forget about my daughter, but if he wants to, we can see a judge and they can laugh at him. He threatened to cut financial support, and I made it clear I never really needed his help. Sending me $1,000 once or twice a year with his sister was already no help, and I can give back his money if he wants to. Now I know what I did wrong, but it was the only way to get the answer I needed. On my way home, I called his sister and lied about how things went. I said that he told me everything and how his fiancée encourages him to be a better person, and I think that's why he wants, and which is a good thing. His sister told me everything I needed to know. How his fiancée has a good heart and how she didn't like it when she discovered that he has a daughter but never saw her before. She basically wouldn't have said yes if he didn't promise to try and fix things. So both his mother and sister knew the reason he wanted to get back into my daughter's life, and his mother encouraged me to let him in without even being honest with me. So all this wasn't about my daughter. It was about him and impressing his fiancée, who was horrified that he wants nothing to do with his daughter. My mother gets it now, but his mother called the same day, asking what's the plan now. I told her there's no plan. He could have just given me full custody, but he wanted nothing to do with her to the point he decided to sign away his rights. And he seemed already fine with the relationship they have, which is none. She tried to make me consider letting him in because at the end it's my daughter's decision. My daughter is 5 years old. What decision? Anyway, I made it clear to her that both her and her daughter legally aren't my child's family, and from now on there will be no alone time with her. And if they keep pressing me, I can easily cut them out. I will discuss this with a lawyer, though. I have everything documented, and I'm sure he doesn't have a leg to stand on, but still, just in case he tries something. And let me show you some of his texts that I'm very tempted to get his fiancée's number and send her some screenshots. English isn't our first language, so I translated them for you. Who sees you now would never tell you weren't ready for this. You look happier. You know, I really didn't know how much I missed you until I saw you today. Good night, beautiful kiss, my daughter's name. For me? I don't know if I'm just overreacting, but if my fiancé texts his ex this way, I for sure won't find it acceptable. By the way, with him back, I realized that I never really dealt with the way he broke my heart. Maybe I cried, but I had to figure out my life as soon as I could for the sake of my daughter. When I gave birth, all I started thinking about was my daughter. Even the nights I called him, it was never to ask about me. It was always about us. I was scared and not ready to be a mom. And now that I'm a mother, I've never felt this strong. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I'm glad how my life turned out. Thank you for the advice. I'm glad I gathered the courage to see him. I feel so much better. At least now I know I don't have to worry about him shaking my baby's life up.